Poems by William Butler Yeats. A crazed girl. That crazed girl improvising her music, her poetry dancing upon the shore, her soul in division from itself, climbing, falling she knew not where, hiding amid the cargo of a steamship, her kneecap broken. That girl, I declare, a beautiful, lofty thing, or a thing heroically lost, heroically found. No matter what disaster occurred, she stood in desperate music wound, and she made in her triumph where the bales and the baskets lay no common intelligible sound, but sang, "O sea, starved, hungry sea." A drunken man's praise of sobriety. Come, swish around, my pretty punk, and keep me dancing still, that I may stay a sober man, although I drink my fill. Sobriety is a jewel that I do much adore, and therefore keep me dancing, though drunkards lie and snore. Oh, mind your feet! Oh, mind your feet! Keep dancing like a wave, and under every dancer a dead man in his grave. No ups and downs, my pretty, a mermaid, not a punk. A drunkard is a dead man, and all dead men are drunk. A lover's quarrel among the fairies. A moonlight moor, fairies leading a child. Male fairies, do not fear us, earthly maid. We will lead you hand in hand, by the willows in the glade, by the gorse on the high land, by the pasture where the lambs shall awake with lonely bleat, shivering closer to their dams from the rustling of our feet. You will with the banshee chat, and will find her good at heart, sitting on a warm, smooth mat in the green hill's inmost part. We will bring a crown of gold, bending humbly every knee, now thy great white doll to hold. Oh, so happy would we be. Ah, it is so very big, and we are so very small. So we dance a fairy jig, to the fiddles rise and fall. Yonder, see the fairy girls all their jealousy display, lift their chins and toss their curls, lift their chins and turn away. See you, brother, cranberry fruit, hee-ho-ho! The merry blade hugs and pets and pats yon newt, teasing every wilful maid. Girl fairies. Lead they one with foolish care, deafening us with idle sound, one whose breathing shakes the air, one whose footfall shakes the ground. Come, you colt's foot, mouse tail, come, come, I know where, far away, owls there be whom age makes numb. Come and tease them till the day. Puffed like puffballs on a tree, scoff they at the modern earth. Ah! How large mice used to be in their days of youthful mirth. Come, beside a sandy lake, feed a fire with stems of grass, roasting berries steam and shake, talking hours swiftly pass. Long before the morning fire wake the larks upon the green, yonder foolish ones will tire of their tall new-fangled queen. They will lead her home again to the orchard-circled farm. At the house of weary men raise the door-pin with alarm, and come kneeling on one knee, while we shake our heads and scold this their wanton treachery, and our slaves be as of old. A young man and old complete. One, First Love. Though nurtured like the sailing moon in beauty's murderous brood, she walked a while and blushed a while, and on my pathway stood, until I thought her body bore a heart of flesh and blood. But since I laid a hand thereon, and found a heart of stone, I have attempted many things, and not a thing is done. For every hand is lunatic that travels on the moon. She smiled, and that transfigured me, and left me but a lout, wandering here and wandering there, emptier of thought than the heavenly circuit of its stars when the moon sails out. 2. Human dignity. Like the moon her kindness is, if kindness I may call what has no comprehension in't, but is the same for all, as though my sorrow were a scene upon a painted wall. So like a bit of stone I lie under a broken tree. I could recover if I shrieked my heart's agony to passing bird, but I am dumb from human dignity. 3. The Mermaid. A mermaid found a swimming pad, picked him for her own, pressed her body to his body, laughed, and plunging down, forgot in cruel happiness that even lovers drown. 4. The Death of the Hare. I have pointed out the yelling pack. The hare leap to the wood, and when I pass a compliment, rejoice as lovers should, at the drooping of an eye, at the mantling of the blood. Then suddenly my heart is wrung by her distracted air, and I remember wildness lost, and after, swept from there, am set down, standing in the wood, at the death of the hare. 5. The Empty Cup. A crazy man found that a cup, when all but dead of thirst, hardly dared to wet his mouth, imagining, moon accursed, that another mouthful and his beating heart would burst. October last I found it too, but I found it dry as bone, and for that reason am I crazed, and my sleep is gone. 6. His memories. We should be hidden from their eyes, being but holy shows, and bodies broken like a thorn, whereon the bleak north blows, to think of buried Hector, and that none living knows. The women take so little stock in what I do or say, they'd sooner leave their cosseting to hear a jackass bray. My arms are like the twisted thorn, and yet their beauty lay. The first of all the tribe lay there, and did such pleasure take. She who had brought great Hector down, and put all Troy to wreck, that she cried into his ear, "Strike me if I shriek." 7. The friends of his youth. Laughter, not time, destroyed my voice, and put that crack in it, And when the moon's pot-bellied, I get a laughing fit, for that old Madge comes down the lane, a stone upon her breast, and I cloak wrapped about the stone, and she can go no rest, with singing hush and hush-a-by. She that has been wild and barren as a breaking wave thinks that the stone's a child, and Peter that had great affairs and was a pushing man shrieks, "I am king of the peacocks," and perches on a stone. And then I laugh till tears run down, and the heart thumps at my side, remembering that her shriek was love, and that he shrieks from pride. 8. Summer and Spring. We sat under an old thorn tree and talked away the night, told all that had been said or done since first we saw the light, and when we talked of growing up, knew that we'd halved a soul, and fell the one into other's arms that we might make it whole. Then Peter had a murdering look, for it seemed that he and she had spoken of their childish days under that very tree. Oh, what a bursting out there was, and what a blossoming, when we had all the summertime, and she had all the spring. 9. The Secrets of the Old. I have old women's sextets now that had those of the young. Madge tells me that I dared not think when my blood was strong. And what had drowned a lover once sounds like an old song, though Marjorie is stricken dumb if thrown in Madge's way. We three make up a solitude, for none alive today can know the stories that we know, or say the things we say. How such a man pleased women most of all that are gone, how such a pair loved many years, and such a pair but one, stories of the bed of straw, or the bed of down. 10. His wildness. Oh, bid me mount and sail up there amid the cloudy wrack, for Peg and Meg and Paris, love that had so straight a back, are gone away, and some that stay have changed their silk for sack. Were I but there, and none to hear, I'd have a peacock cry, for that is natural to a man that lives in memory. Being all alone, I'd nurse a stone and sing it lullaby. 11. From Oedipus at Colonus. Endure what life God gives, and ask no longer span. Cease to remember the delights of youth, travel-wearied aged man. Delight becomes death, longing if all longing else be vain. Even from that delight memory treasures sow, death, despair, division of families, all entanglements of mankind grow, as that old wandering beggar and these God-hated children know. In the long echoing street and laughing dancers throng, the bride is catreed to the bridegroom's chamber through torchlight and tumultuous song. I celebrate the silent kiss that ends short life or long. Never to have lived is best, ancient writers say, never to have drawn the breath of life, never to have looked into the eye of day. The second best's a gay good night, and quickly turn away. Blood and the Moon. Blessed be this place, more blessed still this tower. A bloody, arrogant power rose out of the race, uttering, mastering it, rose like these walls from these storm-beaten cottages. In mockery I have set a powerful emblem up, and sing it rhyme upon rhyme, in mockery of a time half dead at the top. Alexandria's was a beacon tower, and Babylon's an image of the moving heavens, a logbook of the sun's journey and the moon's. And Shelley had his towers, thoughts, crowned powers he called them once. I declare this tower is my symbol. I declare this winding, gyring, spiring treadmill of a stair is my ancestral stair. That Goldsmith and the Dean, Berkeley and Burke have travelled there, swift beating on his breast in sibylline frenzy blind, because the heart in his blood-sodden breast had dragged him down into mankind. Goldsmith deliberately sipping at the honeypot of his mind, and haughtier-headed Burke that proved the state a tree, that this unconquerable labyrinth of the birds, century after century, cast but dead leaves to mathematical equality, and God-appointed Berkeley that proved all things a dream, that this pragmatical, preposterous pig of a world, its pharaoh that so solid seem, must vanish on the instant if the mind but change its theme. Salve indignatio, and the laborer's hire, the strength that gives our blood and state magnanimity of its own desire, everything that is not God consumed with intellectual fire. 3. The purity of the unclouded moon has flung its atraui shaft upon the floor. 7 centuries have passed, and it is pure. The blood of innocence has left no stain. There, on blood-saturated ground, have stood soldier, assassin, executioner. Whether for daily pittance, or in blind fear, or out of abstract hatred and shed blood, but could not cast a single jet thereon. Odor of blood on the ancestral stair, and we that have shed none must gather there and clamor in drunken frenzy for the moon. 4. Upon the dusty, glittering windows cling, and seem to cling upon the moonlit skies, tortoise-shell butterflies, peacock butterflies, a couple of night moths are on the wing. Is every modern nation like the tower, half dead at the top? No matter what I said, for wisdom is the property of the dead. A something incompatible with life and power, like everything that has the stain of blood, a property of the living, but no stain can come upon the visage of the moon when it has looked in glory from a cloud. Solomon to Sheba. Sang Solomon to Sheba, and kissed her dusky face. All day long from midday we have talked in the one place. All day long from shadowless noon we have gone round and round in the narrow theme of love, like an old horse in a pound. To Solomon sang Sheba, plated on his knees, if you had broached a matter that might the learned please, you had before the sun had thrown our shadows on the ground, discovered that my thoughts, not it, are but a narrow pound. Said Solomon to Sheba, and kissed her Arab eyes, there's not a man or woman born under the skies dare match in learning with us two, and all day long we have found there's not a thing but love can make the world a narrow pound. Demon and Beast. For certain minutes at least, that crafty demon and that loud beast that plague me day and night ran out of my sight. Though I had long perned in gyre between my hatred and desire, I saw my freedom won and all laugh in the sun. The glittering eyes in a death's head of old Luke Wadding's portrait said, "Welcome," and the Ormonds all nodded upon the wall, and even Strafford smiled as though it made him happier to know I understood his plan. Now that the loud beast ran, there was no portrait in the gallery, but beckoned to sweet company, for all men's thoughts grew clear, being dear as mine are dear. But soon a teardrop started up, for aimless joy had made me stop beside the little lake to watch a white gull take a bit of bread thrown up into the air. Now gyring down and perning there, he splashed where an absurd, portly, green-pated bird shook off the water from his back. Being no more demoniac, a stupid, happy creature could rouse my whole nature. Yet I am certain as can be that every natural victory belongs to beast or demon, that never yet had freeman right mastery of natural things, and that mere growing old, that brings chilled blood, this sweetness brought, yet have no dearer thought than I may find out a way to make it linger half a day. Oh, what a sweetness strayed through barren Thebaid, or by the Mareotic Sea, when that exultant Antony, and twice 1,000 more, starved upon the shore, and withered to a bag of bones. What had the Caesars but their thrones? Beautiful, lofty things. Beautiful, lofty things. O'Leary's noble head, my father upon the abbey stage, before him a raging crowd. This land of saints, and then as the applause died out, of plaster saints, his beautiful, mischievous head thrown back, Standish O'Grady supporting himself between the tables, speaking to a drunken audience high nonsensical words. Augusta Gregory seated at her great ormolu table, her 80th winter approaching. Yesterday he threatened my life. I told him that nightly from 6 or 7 I sat at this table, the blinds drawn up. Maud gone at Howth Station, waiting a train. Pallas Athene in that straight back and arrogant head. All the Olympians a thing never known again. Broken dreams. There is gray in your hair. Young men no longer suddenly catch their breath when you are passing, but maybe some old gaffer mutters a blessing, because it was your prayer recovered him upon the bed of death, for your soul's sake, and that all hearts ache have known, and given to others all hearts ache, from meager girlhood's putting on, burdensome beauty, for your soul's sake, heaven has put away the stroke of her doom, so great her portion in that peace you make, by merely walking in the room. Your beauty can but leave among us vague memories, nothing but memories. A young man, when the old men are done talking, will say to an old man, "Tell me of that lady." The poet stubborn with his passion sang us when age might well have chilled his blood. Vague memories, nothing but memories, but in the grave all shall be renewed. The certainty that I shall see that lady leaning or standing or walking in the first loveliness of womanhood, and with the fervor of my youthful eyes has set me muttering like a fool, "You are more beautiful than anyone, and yet your body had a flaw. Your small hands were not beautiful, and I am afraid that you will run the paddle to the wrist in that mysterious, always brimming lake where those what have obeyed the holy law paddle and are perfect. Leave unchanged the hands that I have kissed, for old sake's sake. The last stroke of midnight dies. All day in the one chair, from dream to dream and rhyme to rhyme, I have ranged in rambling talk with an image of air. Vague memories, nothing but memories.
Well, thank you for taking that little journey with me as I got to experience Yeats in a way that was big for myself, and I hope it was some value for you. This was made in the art of coffee stains. Of course, I did get to flirt with that place between titanium white gouache and the beautiful effect of coffee stains. And it was an honor to discover Yeats this way. He is credited as one of the great champions of Irish folklore and celebrating the world of the fae and leprechauns, even though he had all of his own very towering genius work as a poet himself. I wanted to read a quote from Dolores O'Riordan of the Cranberries that she said about Yeats. She actually wrote a song for him called Yeats' Grave on their seminal album, No Need to Argue. This is a wonderful quote, and I feel like it really encompasses what I came to find as I was going through these poems of Yeats. And I know I'll be doing more because he has such not only a powerful voice, but I think it's a timeless one. So here's the quote by Dolores O'Riordan of the Cranberries. "I just always loved Yeats, him as a human. He was so passionate and just wrote what he felt. I always found it difficult in school because I loved Yeats' poetry, but I wasn't into analyzing it. I just had my own understanding of it, me as a poet myself, a young girl who writes. I write my own lyrics, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm writing my own poems and verse. And it might not be over-intellectual, and it mightn't be 50 pages and have big words and, clauses and all that stuff in it, but I'm just writing what I feel. And as far as I'm concerned, Yeats just wrote what he felt. But then you sit down at your exam, and it's like, where does he use similes in his poem? And where is he being ironic? I'm sure when Yeats wrote his poetry, he didn't want kids to look for the irony in it. I'm sure he wanted young people to sit down and go, wow, that's cool. I really understand that. Yeah, in a nutshell, I feel like that sums it up. Well, I hope you got some value from this. I would love to hear your thoughts on William Butler Yeats or your thoughts on this video. Always enjoyed that. And be sure you're subscribed. And don't forget to check out the links. You can join my Substack as well. There's also the website so you can find out more about me. Otherwise, I'm Saul. This is where the happily haunted are. Take care, you beautiful haunted romantics.